Well, hello there, my silly little gooses. Welcome back to another edition of the Midweek Breakdown, presented by My Two Cents Podcast, hosted by G2. I am G2. For the people that's unaware of what the Midweek Breakdown consists of, well, let me tell you. It consists of me talking to you guys for 10, 15, sometimes even 20 minutes about any and everything. On certain episodes, will be me talking about little different topics, and on certain episodes, will be me covering one massive theme for the 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then after every episode is over, I will be leading you guys or sending you guys home with a song of the week, hopefully to get you guys into a vibe as we go into the rest of the week, into the weekend, where you'll be listening to me or hearing from me again on my Saturday episode where I talk about the wrestling that happened this week, where I cover on Wrestling Highlights of the Week on Saturday, or you'll hear me talk on Sunday when I talk about the stuff that happened in the news from this week. Now, with that being said, if you haven't listened to my Sunday episode, it's called Hard Truth. I talk about Matthew Perry's assailants being arrested, and also I talk about Johnny Wagner's case, the people being arrested over there. I talk about those things on my Sunday episode, and if you didn't watch wrestling last week, have no fear, I talk about that on my Saturday episode as well. So just want to get that out the way. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, whether it be on Apple, Amazon, Podbean, Spotify, or any other podcasting sites that you're listening to this podcast on, please do so. Because one, when you do so, it helps the algorithm spread out to people. It gives other podcasting sites the opportunity to grab this podcast up and just to put it on their sites as well. And it also allows other people to locate this podcast. And two, it'll just be beneficial to me because this podcast, I have to say this, is worldwide. I am shocked by that myself, but it is a worldwide podcast, and I just want people around the world to be able to listen to this podcast and hear some of the topics that I do talk about, and also for people to bring this podcast to other people and just talk about certain topics that I do bring up. So, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do so. That'll be greatly appreciated. Now, with the self-promotion out of the way, how is everyone? I hope everyone's so far the start of the week has been fine. Mine has been well. There's been some moving pieces going on in my life at the moment, some home construction, so I have to move and go to a different location at the moment. But still, other than that, everything's still going peachy clean at the moment. I know for a certain family that I have in the northern parts of the country, I know they're having not issues. I know they're good, but just there's certain type of decoys in the way. Like for example, I have some family in Connecticut, and I'm not certain if they have to deal with certain delays that's there, because I know what this past weekend there was some type of flooding, water, winds down that way, and from the news that's up there, there's been like 2 dead and 100 evacuated, because the only thing you see is like a big road like crumbled like in the middle. And I called up my people. My people are safe. I'm not sure about my extra family. I'm hoping that they're safe, but my close family, I know they're safe up there. But people in Connecticut, I know they're having a situation there. I will say, not being from Connecticut, but having to travel to Connecticut from time to time, their weather is not, or shall I say, they are not built to deal with rain and heavy wind the way that I'm able to deal with rain and heavy wind, the way that people in the South are able to deal with rain and heavy wind. Because even though certain places in the South, their land might get flooded with water, it might take a couple of days or two, but the water always goes back down. In Connecticut, I'm not so certain of that. I know they're equipped to deal with snow. They have the snow plow. They have all the like stuff to deal with the snow, but the rain, not so much. So again, I hope everybody in Connecticut is doing well. I hope if you do have family in Connecticut, check on them, see if they're all right, and just make sure they're doing fine with that. Now on to the next thing that I do want to discuss here. I want to discuss Thomas Lane being released from prison. For people that are unaware of this, Thomas Lane, he was one of the officers that were arrested for the murder of George Floyd. His part in that murder was he was the guy that held down George Floyd's leg when Derek Chauvin put his knee on Floyd's neck. The other officers involved in this, J. Alexander Quang, he knelt on Floyd's back and Total, that's another officer, he kept bystanders away from intervening when this whole incident happened. Thomas Lane, he has been released from prison while J. Alexander Kwong and Total, they're set to be released next year. Now, I have a problem with that because Thomas Lane, he only served 3 years. That's what his sentences were for aiding and abetting in the manslaughter. If you're holding down someone's legs, how are you able to get 2.5 years? How are you able to get that while the other guys, a guy who like knelt on Floyd's back, he's still in prison, and Total, he was the guy that kept people away, he's still in prison. You would think, if anything, Total, the guy that made sure people couldn't intervene, he should be getting 2.5 years, the one that Thomas Lane got, and Thomas Lane should have got his years. If anything, the guys that held down the legs and the back, they should be the guys be released later than the guy that intervened. That's still kind of weird to me when you look at the sentencing for each person's role in this. It's kind of weird how Thomas Lane is out of this. They do put a description that Thomas Lane, he was the white dude that held Floyd's leg down, while Kwang, he's a black man, and Total, they say he's a Hmong American. I understand they want to say an Asian American, but you get my point here. So you gave a white dude, and again, it's about race, because if you put that in your article, you know good and well it has something to do with that. They could have easily just not put that in an article, allow you to do your Google search, and allow you to come up with that theory yourself. But for them to put that in the article, just like I said Sunday when I talked about the Florida woman that shot her black neighbor and she was convicted by an all-white jury, they made sure to put that in the news article, that it was an all-white jury, to let you know that they couldn't even stand their own white counterpart that did that. They made sure to put that in the article here, that a white person held down George Floyd's leg and a black man knelt on Floyd's back and a Asian American man kept the bystanders away intervening, but the white man's able to get out before the other two. Again, this has something to do with race. If they didn't want that in there, they could have easily not put that in there and allow you to come up with your own reasoning or your own thought process about that. If they didn't want that in the article, they could easily allow you to Google that themselves. But I digress from that. It's just weird to me how Thomas Lane is able to get out. I remember covering this when this thing came about and they got arrested and the sentencings came about with that. I was pretty sure I wasn't happy about that. I haven't gone back in my archives to listen to that, but just whenever this was brought to my attention, thanks to my mother, either sending me a text or an Instagram post about this, I had to look into it and just make sure this is right. No, this is right. Thomas Lane, he's out. He's able to now roam free, and I don't like it. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't like that he's able to roam free right now, but people will say he did serve his time. He did what the justice system was meant for. You go to jail, you get your sentence, you serve it, and now you're able to walk out, not going to say a free man, but to say that you paid your debt to society, when in reality, you never really be able to pay your debt to society if you helped or you killed someone. If you stole money, it's money. Whatever. It's whatever. But taking someone's life, I don't think you're able to really pay your debts to society for that if the person wasn't a heinous person like George Floyd was. George Floyd wasn't a heinous person. If you killed someone that was disgusting, which I will get to that in a minute, then you could say they pay their debt to society, if you will. But again, this one, I'm not so certain if Thomas Lane or any of these other gentlemen will be able to truly say they paid their debt to society in the realistic type of fashion here. But also, before I get off of that, speaking of Derek Chauvin, he has been moved to a different police facility. He was stabbed at the prison system that he was in. They say that Derek Chauvin was transferred to a federal prison in Texas almost 9 months after he was stabbed in a different facility The Federal Bureau of Prisons told the Associated Press on Tuesday. Chauvin is now housed at the Federal Correction Institution in Big Spring, a low-security prison. He was previously held in Arizona, so that's where he was at. The transfer comes, as they said, 9 months after Chauvin was stabbed 22 times in prison by a former gang leader and a one-time FBI informant. The person that stabbed Derek Chauvin did tell the news that if the officers would not have responded so quickly, he would have killed Derek Chauvin. So be that what it may, Derek Chauvin, he got poked up in prison. Now he has been moved, and I think it's just going to be a matter of time before he gets poked up again, even though it is a low security prison, meaning that not too many threats are there. I still think one wrong thing said could trick someone off and make them want to stab up Derek Chauvin. Or if Derek Chauvin happens to be a prick, I can see someone feeling antsy again to want to stab him up. So again, Derek Chauvin, I think you need to walk on eggshells in any prison that you go to, because you were the big news headline during the whole COVID thing in 2020. Besides, well, COVID itself, everyone on the television screens and on the internet had to see your face. So if Derek Chauvin or anybody of Derek Chauvin's life happens to hear this, please tell him, hey, yo, walk on eggshells, because any wrong thing said, he will get poked up again. I'm pretty sure of that. And again, that's just me saying that. I'm a man of reality, and I don't want people to do that just listening off of this, but just use your brain power here and brain cells. More than likely, he will get stabbed up if he happens to say something wrong to someone, even at this low security prison. Now, on to the next thing that I do want to discuss. As I mentioned, doing your debt to society. A Wisconsin woman who says she legally killed sex trafficker gets 11 years in prison. This happens this week. A Milwaukee woman who says she was legally allowed to kill a man because he was sex trafficking her was sentenced Monday to 11 years in prison after pleading guilty to a reduced count of reckless homicide. A judge sentenced Crystal Kaiser to 11 years of initial confinement, followed by 5 years of extended supervision in the 2018 death of Randall Vlor, who was 34. She was given credit for 570 days after 1.5 years of time served. The prosecutor said that Crystal shot Vlor at his Kenosha home in 2018 when she was 17, and that she burned his house down and stole his BMW. Crystal was charged with multiple counts, including first-degree initial homicide, arson, car theft, and being a felon in possession of a firearm. Crystal has said that she met Vlor on a sex trafficking website. He had been molesting her and selling her as a prostitute over the year leading up to his death. She told detectives that she shot him after he tried to touch her. Her attorney said Crystal couldn't be held criminally liable for any of it under a 2008 state law that absolves sex trafficking victims of any offense committed as a direct result of being trafficked. Most states have passed similar laws over the past 10 years, providing sex trafficking victims at least some level of criminal immunity. Now, with that being said, the prosecutors did counter that Wisconsin legislators couldn't possibly have intended for protections to extend to homicide. Anti-violence groups did flock to Crystal's defense, arguing in court briefs that trafficking victims felt trapped and sometimes felt as if they had to take matters into their own hands. In 2022, the Supreme Court ruled that Crystal could raise the defense during trial, but as you could tell, she did take she pleaded guilty, so I'm thinking that she took a plea deal there. So, long story less long, here's my thought process on this. If she was being trafficked when she was, 17, and this is now 7 years later because she's 24 now, she was 17 then, he was 34 at the time, he was double her age. Just do the math on that. That's not good in any time frame. We already have the dispute now when we say an older person dating a younger person. That's already looking big creepy. 34 and 17. Literally, that's double that person's age. I'm not certain what mindset anybody was thinking of here, but that man was able to mess with her mind. I don't care what you look at or how you think about it. No 34-year-old person should be having conversations with a 17-year-old like that at all. If she's at his home, that shouldn't happen. If she's driving around his cars, that shouldn't happen. None of that makes sense. Even whenever you're working with someone, let's say someone's doing a summer internship and there happens to be someone older at the job. There's people that's going to talk at the job, make friends, quote unquote, but that should be the only place where it should end. You go to your job, you come home, that's about it. That's all your conversation should end at. If an older adult wants to have conversations with you after the clock and you're 17, even 18, if the person's 40, that's still a creepy vibe. That still looks creepy from the person on the outside looking in. And me just looking at this case right here, this was creepy than a mug. So I can believe her saying that she was being prostituted by this man. That is a capable thing. It's just sad that she has to go to jail for this, that she pleaded guilty for this. I'm not certain what type of evidence they had on her or what type of situation they had with her. I'm not certain of it, but I think in this day and age, especially with if you're able to get this case out there to the right publications and get your story out there to the right people, I think with the court of public opinions, the jury, whoever they would have gotten, would have felt her, would have dealt with her, would have sided with her, instead of saying, you know what, she killed someone and we got to just, it doesn't matter whether she was prostituted or not. She killed him. No, the age thing plays a part. We literally are just in the age frame of the whole Me Too thing just being wrapped up. And now the biggest rap battle that just happened, and all the kids are making fun of Drake saying, Drake, you like him young, and everyone having that conversation of Drake, whether he's a pedophile or not. The age gaps are being talked about now more than ever. And I think if this case would have really went to a public and allowed the news publications to really hone in on this case the way that it would have been, I think that Crystal could have been found not guilty, if I'm being honest with you. I'm not certain what her lawyers talked to her about. I'm not certain if her lawyers thought about that. I know for certain if I was a lawyer, and I know if my mom's hearing this right now, she's looking at the phone like, you should have been a lawyer. Again, my own personal reasons of why I'm not. I know if I would have been a lawyer in this instance right here, I would have tried to really get the story out to every news publications and really try to hone in on court of public opinion and hone in that she was 17 and the man was 34 and he was prostituting her and all that type of stuff. So I just think that her lawyer dropped the ball here, but hey man, if she's able to renege on that or not plead guilty, something like that, I mean, maybe, but I think it might be just be a little too late. Crystal, she's just gonna have to deal with doing her time that she's been sentenced to. So let that be known for everyone out there. If you are dealing with a case and you happen to kill someone because they did do something nasty to you, they were trying to touch you, traffic you, whatever may have you, and you might be in a jail cell right now, or you might be dealing with some type of court system right now, all over, like age discrepancy and all this and all that, let it go. In my opinion, again, you're in that cell yourself. I will say this: let this go to the court of public opinion and try to get your case out there as much as you can to whoever you can, to every publication, news publication that you can, to really dive in and dig in on the fact of, again, the age discrepancy. Because again, we're in that time, age, and frame where people are talking about the ages playing a factor and people manipulating the ages and all of that type of stuff. Because again, I think if the jury or whoever it is that gets picked for the jury, there's no way they won't they won't have that already like built into the back of their mind. But again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a guy throwing out a little bit of information that I think that needs to be said personally. With that being said, we have now come to the end of the episode. This has been your midweek breakdown presented by My Two Cents Podcast, hosted by G2. And now it's time for me to move on to your song of the week. Song of the week for this week, it is Tory Lanez, Wish I Never Met You. This is off of his, I believe, mixtape, Prison Tapes. I hope everyone's able to have a great rest of your week. And this song does say damn in it, so it is explicit in that fashion. But other than that, I think you're still good. But again, song of the week for this week, Tory Lanez, Wish I Never Met You, off of his mixtape, Prison Tapes. I want everyone to have a great rest of the week. You'll hear from me again Saturday and Sunday. I love you all. Be blessed.
Hey, it hurt me before. You said let love grow, but not no more. You took time to grow. Stop blowing up my phone and now I'm loaded with emotions, trying to find out how to cope. It can't be with drinking dope. I've been smoking way too high. Drink so much I damn near choke. Can't find your love in my scope. Think I need it, I can't lie. Love you had for me's no more. It's okay, I knew this would happen one day. I can't lie, I just wish I never met you in the first place. Damn, why you had to come and kiss me in the first place. Damn, why we had to even mix it in the first place. Damn, then we went ahead and slid in the third base. Damn, I wish I never ever met you in the first place. Damn, why you had to come and kiss me in the first place. Damn, why we had to even mix it in the first place. Damn, then we went ahead and slid in the third base. Damn, I wish I never ever met you in the love don't come my way. It don't come my way, don't need to stay. Things I should have said, things I wish I said, I need to say. You always been my good love and I